Welcome back, friends, to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, The Onyx Path, and viewers like you. Thank you for your support, subscribing, hanging out, and, thank you for being awesome. Special shout out to our patrons who support us monetarily. That's Adele, Al, Alexander, Bernie, Buck, Chris, Clara, Craigsrit, still, Doggo DeLune, Emil, Funzusurali, George, James, Jenny, John, Josh, Cat Feathers, Klaus, CrazyMan1772, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Mozart D Minor. My name is Drew and I support pineapple pizza. I do in certain scenarios, but we're not getting into that right now. Noba, Other Guy, Perry, Porter, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shane, Shaksara, Taryn, Thomas, Vortex Falcon, Wenwolf, they're running late. Werewolves, they got lost. Who wolves? They don't know. Why wolf? They question everything. And Zoltan.
Nobody ever asked how wolf, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody asked how wolf. Y'all are terrible. Again, thank you for your support. It means a lot to us, and it's always cool to see. If you are unsure if hanging out with us is a long-term option, come by Discord. There's a whole bunch of other nerds that you can also talk to if you're curious about Mage. I will warn, it is definitely a gateway drug, and you will find yourself looking at all sorts of other weird Chronicles of Darkness systems. Twitch chat. Yes, viewers with benefits. Yeah, that's about right. All right. When we last left the Cabal, the Witch Coven of Purgatory Bluff had avoided some boulders, seen life regrowing beyond what the storm had left behind, had some nice little heart-to-hearts about the storms inside one another, learned some fire magic, tried to reach out to a wife through dreams, which still hasn't quite worked out yet. But Baba Sarah might be onto something, especially after a little bit of suggestion and hinting from Papa Legba. Feels like there was something else that happened.
Petrapar went into her and Neros.
Ah, yes, the self hug, sort of, the Damon hug, always important. We actually had a fairly action-packed and good drama episode. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But you're watching this one, so I assume you've already seen it.
Stop now. Watch the other at 2x speed.
Yeah. So the last thing was... everybody had a slow start to the day because my players are awesome and had mercy on their poor storyteller who hadn't made a ton of prep and so didn't know where they were going after said boulders. So
we got another note in the journal from someone else.
That was the other thing, yes. Which you all attempted to communicate with. Rilla tried to send a message of "Who are you?" There's a little delay, and then words appeared on the page saying, I'll drop this into Roll20. Yep.
Oh yeah, another thing that happened was Legba had his encounter with Quetzalcoatl.
That was the other one, yes. Not setting him loose, but telling him that, yes, would bring Salazar to him, or Quetzalcoatl to Salazar. I can't remember. What did we decide?
Oh, gotcha. No. What Legba's plan is to enter Salazar's dreams and then summon
Quetzalcoatl
there.
That's what I thought.
Channel them in.
Good stuff.
He wants to have a, not conversation so much, but set the stage.
Mm-hmm.
As I suspect that Quetzalcoatl would desire, demand,
Good stuff. Okay. So, and yes, Craig, Theodosia, with her high speech fluency,
yes,
can clearly read the attached message, or not attached, the below message. This is when I suddenly panic and go, how was my grammar in that?
Travel a day north and enter a place that is not Study the terminated timelines of times that were not. Nightmares of the future may guard the path to your future, but insight into what could. This is what she does. She nudges and meddles, manipulating and pushing so subtly. You play into her hand. Turn aside from this. Have been many illuminate the same path. There have been may illuminate the same path. So it looks like there was a interjection in the middle of another hand.
Yeah.
Or the copycat of the same hand, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So the two messages, just to be a little clearer, is travel any north and enter a place that is not. Study the terminated timelines of times that were not. Nightmares of the future may guard the path to your future, but insight into what could have been may illuminate the same path. And then the interjection was, this is what she does. She nudges and meddles, manipulating and pushing so subtly, you play into her hand. Turn aside from this.
And I will note that ends with a hyphen, not a period. So definitely mid-sentence cutoff kind of thing.
Or jockeying for control. That's fun.
And we're all kind of resolved that we're going to see this through, so I'm prepared to just discount.
Can we write back to them again?
Yeah. I mean, Theo's got the journal, but there's nothing stopping you guys from adding stuff.
Because it seems like the second voice is still trying to talk to us more insistently now. Can I take it and write down? What would you have us do instead?
Cool. Just for narrative flex and fluff. Yes. Are you writing this in English? Are you doing as Rilla had done, where you're writing in Greek high speech? Or
I mean, I can't speak Greek or high speech.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
Can't
you could
write
ask
now.
Rilla to write it or something.
Yeah.
But still has universal, his third attainment up.
Mhm.
So you can speak Greek high speech right now. If you
Yeah,
so
that's
choose.
true.
I'll write back in that language then if I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the message is written. You guys kind of watch to see if anything happens, but no further message comes.
Let's just say Isabel does the thing where she points at a word on the page, but probably isn't actually looking at the book. But I recognize something you said there, Baba Sarah.
Oh,
A place that is not.
yes.
They are. On the other side of the gauntlet is a reflection.
Just to not accidentally cause a red herring, with the high speech understanding of we're not talking about the spirit things. We're more talking about a place that does not exist really, air quotes.
Okay.
Now, I am bringing that up
I can be corrected in character. so
right.
that's
Yeah, I'm just making sure that Chris knows. Yeah.
fine. I knew that because you already talked about what we were doing. So
Oh, that's true. Sorry, carry on.
anyways, you're good. So yeah, there is a reflection of this world, or this world is a reflection. No, I don't know. But there are pockets and hills and hidey holes, burrows, all manner of things that exist only on that side.
How does one reach that side?
Across the gauntlet.
How does one cross the gauntlet?
Magic?
Oh, what kind of magic?
Spirit magic.
Ah,
That
Have
seems
you
to
been there?
imply that it's an ordeal.
Not really.
Okay.
No, provided you have a place. Just like your gate.
We still haven't gone into the happy afterlife that we send ghosts to yet.
Not yet.
Sent one ghost.
That's
to.
true.
Also, helped a ghost choose to go.
Sure.
Not really.
Sure.
He got literally dragged screaming.
He wasn't
Could've
screaming.
You could have said, "Fuck you, I don't want to feel better about my problems."
But the rest of this doesn't make sense in a spirit context.
I
She, like,
suspected.
Glances over at Gisela. It's like, this reeks of your magic.
Yes, I suspect we're going to find a place that could have been had the path been different.
Oh boy.
And see things that are not but could have happened.
Well, I, for one, am really looking forward to that.
I honestly am. It seems
Sure,
like
I
it
can't.
could very much be enlightening to see what would have become had you taken a different path.
I like that terminology. If you'd taken a different path.
So, should we head out?
You should.
I think so.
There's been a headcanon of mine, and I'm deciding to actually unveil it. So Rilla, nods and basically says, "So, no further business?"
What do you mean?
Crosses a line across her journal and,
She
dates
said-
it.
Well, Legba says, "What do you mean?"
Oh, any further discussions? Things to note, bring up among the Coven at our meeting? She's
That's a rather
100% taking secretarial minutes.
Yeah,
Following Robert's rules.
Yep.
that's a rather formal question.
And
My dear, you're amazing.
And notably, like I said, in my headcanon, she's been doing this the entire time, but it's
Right.
not worth bringing up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just taking her notes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and basically this whole journey I'm gonna have time sign on because I want to see when we cross the threshold into the place that is not.
But yeah, to clarify for Ralph and your comment, for Rilla, she's just like, no, is there anything else we need to discuss before we head out? Is all.
No. But we might. There's not a need.
Oh yeah, casual conversation and other discussions as we go. Obviously, as she's wrapping up the journal and packing it up. Actually, what is it? Sanding the paper, I think.
Yes,
if
sprinkling
using
your to make things dry.
Just to dry it up quickly.
Blotting.
yeah. If,
I really want to keep. I want to keep trying to communicate with the person in here who's trying to talk to us.
Since you have brought that up, give me a roll. I was thinking wits plus composure just for the idea of it being something that you may notice, but I'm also okay with something like using occult or something to try and figure out when these messages have come across and how you may methods that you may have to communicate.
I will do what's in composure.
Sure.
Just to see if I can pick up, notice anything.
Yeah, I like that. One success on 8 dice.
Yeah.
So the one thing that you as characters have noticed is that the messages always seem to come either just before, or actually only the one time just before, but usually in the midst of the message from the other entity. So to use more modern stuff, they're hopping onto the carrier wave and nudging the message somehow. It's in those times that they seem to be able to communicate. Now, whether or not they're seeing your messages is another thing.
Well, they did respond to us at one point. Did they answer a
I
question?
don't think so, no.
Okay.
No, because you've only asked the one question.
I've only
with
written
really-
back to them, yeah.
Mhm.
Once before just now.
Then how were they able to give us that first message? If it was not encased, it was not interposed in another message in the journal. It was just an empty page, and that's description of the fox and the snake.
Oh, hang on. Because I believe I'm pulling up my notes for that specific message. Blah, 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 blah. Understanding. Yeah. Yeah, because that was. Yeah, it was in the middle of a message. An effigy, and cut off symbol for she watches and scheme studies. She is a snake. She is a fox among sheep. So there was that one. That was the very first message. Just recently, just before, like you all saw the blank page, and you saw that same message plus a little bit extra, which I did not write down. And then when you all wrote your message, then more of the original author began to write.
Okay. When we got that first message about the fox and the snake, I didn't realize that it was placed in the middle of somebody else's handwriting.
Yep.
So, okay, cool.
Well, and that's the other thing. The handwriting for both has always been the same.
No, I know.
Okay.
So in the middle of somebody else's writing.
Yep.
Maybe it is the same person, just having someone else hop onto them.
Possession, you know that's a thing. And absolutely, y'all can continue this conversation as things are starting to be packed up. And before you all, well, actually, I believe, canonically, whatever, you all had already packed up and were like, okay, what's the journal say? So, but yeah, so, you all begin to head north. And it is early afternoon. Sometime you guys have traveled at this point well away from the wreckage of the storm, the boulders and things like that. And after going west, heading now north, at least now you're headed back generally towards Purgatory Bluff and the fort.
Not further away from it, at least.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And on the travels, you've got Jules and Isabel kind of ranging out forward and back to kind of scout out and see, but more or less said north, we go north. And at one point, like I said, mid-afternoon, you guys have already had like some kind of small lunch while traveling. Horses were given water, stuff like that. Jules comes riding back and waves out at Isabel and the cart, and you guys kind of bring it to a stop, and says there is a rather large heat mirage out a ways, not crossing the horizon or anything like that, and also much higher off the ground than he had seen before. Now, he's not exactly a desert lad at this point or anything, but he has spent a year in Purgatory Bluff. and points out the area itself doesn't look significant. It's dirt and shrub and a couple of these wannabe trees, as you guys are still very well within what is now New Mexico desert. And it is more or less on the path north.
Sounds like our place.
Could be.
And I bring that up mostly for what sites does everybody have on? I know
You're breaking up a lot.
You asked what mage sites does
Made
everyone have
sites,
on?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Watching you, internet. Yes. What mage sites does everybody have turned on? Obviously, maintaining your ruling sites is very simple because that's just willpower at this point, which is being handled by Legba. Anything else is just going to be adding in some mana.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a mana and turn on Prime as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've got Prime Death and all.
You asking what mage sites
we're
we
walking
have
up.
on?
Mage sites.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes, mage
as we're
sites.
walking up to the Mirage.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
And
'cause-
Ash and I had both said we spend mana to include our non-ruling prime.
Mm-hmm. And Craig, I think you said you were including Prime as well?
Craig has prime ruling from his
Or
legacy, or Theo does.
Yeah.
I
forgot
forget
ruling.
that.
Well, I forgot I have
Ruling is automatic.
ruling.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Give
yeah,
me that mana back.
yeah, Chris gets all of them. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
I forget. Okay, good calls. All right, I need to. I keep meaning to add something to the overlay to clarify which ones are ruling or not. Anyways, cool. So as you all ride out towards it, Jules kind of staying back with the wagon now. It's like, okay, something funky is going on out there. I'm gonna stay here, not get caught off guard or anything like that, because I'm just a little sleepwalker on a horse.
There's fuckery afoot.
There's fuckery afoot, yes. And it's not just my internet. As you get closer, the barrage becomes visible, obviously at a distance. And as you get closer, Legba, because of your inward-outward eye, are able to see into this mirage. For everybody else, you are able to see what is more or less, go to my notes, heat mirage the size of a small house. So it is taller and narrower than a normal heat mirage, across like the near the horizon might be. For Legba, you are able to see a little bit more. Notably, you see the mirage itself, but then through it, what appears to be a Greek or Roman style Pantheon-esque temple, complete with tall columns. Everything is painted up colorfully and not pale white, which, depending on your own historical understandings, may be like, that's weird, or actually, I don't know how much in 1847.
I don't think we knew at the time that they were actually colored.
Right. So
It wasn't until we looked at like residues on them and found the pigments.
Right. So yeah, it's like, oh, this is weird. These are painted instead of pristine marble white.
Imagine it reminds me of Olympus in the Astral.
Actually, that's very true. Yeah. Because I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, because Olympus was a big old Pantheon hall. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but would it still be white in the Astral?
I don't think it'd be white.
No, I don't think
it
so.
had a color.
Right,
think
because specifically the Greek gods that they went to visit, Papa Legba and Legba went to visit, were the same gods that were worshipped, as opposed to those that are studied as myth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
supposedly
but that is a good
ruins.
point. Because yeah, there is somewhere else this other set of
Right.
Greek gods who are a little more stiff and come out of storybooks. I mentioned how much I love the Astral. But yes.
Amen.
Yeah, a couple times. So yes, you can see that. Though just because of the limits of your vision, you cannot see the whole temple. At least at this first, like as you get closer, obviously you're able to see more and more.
Legba stops briefly and says, "It seems we're going to be visiting Olympus." Well, the realm of gods is a place that is not, if we think of where we are as the place that is. And he nods and keeps walking.
Imagine probably riding in the wagon.
Oh, that's right, because we're in the cart. Yeah, that's right. Cool. Yeah.
Theo just kind of shrugs and keeps on.
It's like, yep, sure. Whatever, bring it on.
I also, actually, do you know that what you're physically seeing here might be what is actually there? That might not be what we see when we get there.
Do I know?
It's a mirage.
It is not a mirage. It is a spatial distortion.
Yeah, sure. You can definitely tell that it is an iris.
It is a gate.
I'm just saying I don't want to assume that what you are actually seeing is what we will see.
Oh, that's also true.
Yeah.
It's magic. It's going to show us things that are not. Things that could have been.
That's very true.
You're actually seeing it. That might not be what any of the rest of us see.
That's true.
Ash, let me start consulting you when I'm writing my notes, because like, man, that would have been better than my idea. But no. As you all ride the wagon forward, and notably, of course, it is large enough that you can actually ride the cart and wagons through, or do you all park it outside?
I think I'm with.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So,
My only concern is for the horses. Do you think they'll handle it?
That'll be fine.
I think
Okay.
they survive the boulders coming down upon them, and yeah, as Ulsrit mentioned in Discord, yes, the horses will awaken and create the
The
herd,
an
or
awakened
something.
herd.
The herd, yeah.
Lord.
I mean, we've definitely given them enough breaking points.
Yeah. Like, man, I was just a simple draft horse. I didn't need any of this, but yeah.
the most integrity in the history of an animal.
Yeah.
I mean, one would be the most in the history of an animal, but
Yeah, exactly. That's
Also
what
fair.
I'm saying. if you can suffer multiple breaking points and not collapse into yourself and then awaken.
time to turn a lion into a slasher. Let's go.
Jesus Christ. So yes, you step through the mirage itself and see, I guess Jules and Isabel would ride through first, which they do not seem to pass through a curtain or anything like that. They basically touch the edge of this mirage and then are just gone. Very similar to co-locate might work. When Jules and Isabel step through along with their horses, you also see what Legba had mentioned, seeing this temple up ahead. Then everybody else kind of follows through on the wagon. Coming through, Legba's description, especially in Legba, you may have already clarified your description once getting through. The temple is maybe 50 yards long. It is not overly enormous. And beyond the temple edges itself, because you have the lovely columns, right? You can see out to, what do you imagine is the Mediterranean coast. You see, beautiful blue water out there, especially coming from New Mexico desert into the Mediterranean. It's like, ooh, that is a humid heat that hits you. But you are, also getting a nice kind of coastal breeze. Of note, as you step through this place, the path behind you is still visible as this heat mirage that goes beyond, but there's nothing beyond, or more specifically, behind you. You're basically looking at a kind of shimmery shower curtain kind of effect looking out to New Mexico. And then forward of you and kind of your peripheral mage sight, or not peripheral mage sight, your actual peripheral vision, you can see just a little bit more coastline before it kind of peters off into this distant white kind of fuzz fog almost. Oh, right. And then there's the path that leads up towards the temple itself.
Shall we head to the temple?
That is where the path is taking us.
Is there nothing here but the temple?
There is some grass, the well-trod dirt path, a couple trees. I almost said olive trees, but I don't imagine olive trees are just sitting around. They're probably in orchards. But there might be a couple. But yeah, just what you would all imagine.
Is it real? Or does it perceive as real?
It all perceives as real, and I think actually Rilla and Jules may make some comment of, oh, this reminds me of a place in Greece that, when traveling with Mortimer, that we saw. It is very much a plucked from or created Greek Mediterranean seaside temple. I guess I should clarify also that it is kind of up on some height, so you have cliff down to the water before it also disappears off into fog. Overall, size-wise, you're thinking large campus?
I want to try to
but have we traveled?
He thinks on that. And he had space side up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. How would I answer that question? Oh yeah, I'm going to cast an improvised knowing spell.
Sure.
Space.
Yeah, just Gnosis
I'm
plus
in a different
space.
location from where it was. Cool. Great.
And Ash, what were you asking?
I want to look around and scrutinize this place the way I did the dreams we had, to try to find any evidence of the creator, to see like if this is a pocket dimension kind of.
Okay. That was a lot for just Gnosis plus space. Did you add in some yantras or something? Okay, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing Gnosis plus space is literally just knowledge. This works just fine too.
Gotcha.
No, you're good. This works all the same. And then yeah, Ash, you can do some scrutiny as well. But yes, for Ralph, you have not seen a place, you have not visited a place like this, but it is something within your understanding. This is a pocket dimension.
Okay, gotcha.
Considering the amount of successes that you got, I will add in just for shiggles. It definitely appears to be a fully fledged pocket dimension, wherein you don't have the arcana for it, but you can see the building blocks within the pocket dimension of Twilight, which also kind of as a side thing must be here, or there would be a screaming Ganem. Ganem may be screaming, and actually because of Spirit Side
I
Up,
would know.
yes, there is a continually grumpy Ganem who's like, why do we walk through places like this? Yeah.
So then, in response to Isabel's question, Legba says, we have traveled, and we are in a pocket created for some purpose. This likely is not a place that exists permanently.
So you're telling me I haven't actually been to Greece now?
Unless a portion of Greece was taken and placed in this pocket dimension, you have not yet been to Greece.
Possible. But,
Okay.
Yes, for 2 successes digging around, especially using Prime, there is a lot of after effects of spells. Looking around, and again, this is one of those, you don't have all the arcana for it, but you can recognize, especially because of your rather talented peripheral mage sight, all these stones were put here by matter. All this grass, these trees, grown with life. Somebody has put a lot of time and effort into making this place look exactly the way it does. I will give just kind of as a freebie because of your mage sights being on. Time doesn't seem to be progressing for the plant life and the structures here. Things move, but they don't seem to be moving forward in time. They do not, there's no photosynthesis going on. Well, actually, I guess maybe photosynthesis is happening. But regardless, nothing is growing.
They're not growing, yeah.
Mhm.
That was another thing I was going to ask. Is try to see, like, is this a really old, just constant space that they open a door into when someone goes on a mission?
Yeah, you can do just a gnosis time. Yeah. Just to, like, how old is this? Yeah, kind of poking at it, prodding at it. Don't come up with an answer. We're going to see here. Rilla, do you have a dot of time? Nope, not yet. So, yeah, you kind of come up with an inconclusive answer. I will give you kind of one of those, like, failing forward things. It's definitely older than this morning.
Yeah. It's like, because I don't think they made this right now. But it does seem to be suspended.
So a pocket dimension where time wasn't added in.
Or more specifically, stopped. Either way.
So shall we go to the temple then?
Right. Thank you,
Nice.
Ash, for getting us back on track.
I think I've
yeah.
seen what I can see out here.
Jules takes a moment to tie up the horses and is like, well, grass isn't growing. I almost feel bad for this, but eat up, guys. Just leave them kind of tied to, whatever. And then make your way up towards the temple. It is a completely open air temple. There is no internal structure, no... well, I guess it would be Jewish if it was a Holy of Holies, but no central, like, altar place. But, and this is our first little bit of collaborative story building, there are 6 statues kind of spaced along between pillars. And this is where get back over to Kanka. So Ralph, I would imagine that the appropriate Greek deity to represent Cloak or Legba may be Hermes. Mostly from
sounds good.
Okay. So yes, there is a statue of Hermes there. A little bit farther down is Chris, I would imagine Zeus, but that's a recent thing for Isabel. So I don't know if that's something that would have always been hers, or if she might have been more of a Hera.
I feel
Or
Apollo's
Pan.
pretty good.
Apollo's another good one. I don't know. And notably, I'm getting very meta. These are gods that draw your characters, and like I feel a connection there. I'm cheating, as opposed to when Diamond Order showed up and fucked up.
I would imagine either Hera or Artemis.
Oh, Artemis would be another Actually, I think Artemis, considering your past, yeah.
Right.
Babasera, Hades or Hestia,
No.
right?
Yeah, no, I can see the reasoning go either way, but it's definitely going to be Hades.
Yep. Okay. Let's see here. Rilla is drawn towards Apollo, now that I know that Apollo's not taken. And oh, Jesus, I passed right by Gisela. I was actually kind of unsure because that was another, like, would it be Hestia? Especially, and there's obviously like Atropos and some of the, fates, but more Olympus gods.
Yeah. Probably Hestia.
Okay.
Athena?
Athena's another good one too, but
No.
No?
No.
Not even with the Arachne pole?
No.
And notably, there is a statue for Jules.
Mm-hmm.
And he is drawn towards Hephaestus.
Oh yeah.
As you all kind
If
of
that isn't foreshadowing. Looks like we're gonna have another Moros in the group, everybody.
That's one way to look at it. As you all kind of move forward, drawn not necessarily supernaturally, but very naturally to these different statues. As you get closer to them, notably your respective statues, the space between the columns shows another image, not of the seaside and the ocean, but of other places and times. And unfortunately, that's just where we're going to have to take our quick break real quick. Even though YouTube guys, I'm sure you're like, wait, we just started. Yeah, technical difficulties. Twitch guys, hey, go take another break. We'll be right back. Seeing everybody's gods and a clarification that I realized while I was getting coffee. You all can see these places that are opening up behind these gods. Nobody else can see yours. So these are private little things, which in character means that you could keep what you see a secret.
Cool.
But everybody, we're going to talk about everybody. I'm not going to send anybody out of the room.
Yeah, so like when we turn around and look, we just still see the normal.
You see the ocean and
okay.
Yep. Righto. So, we have any volunteers to go first?
Sure.
All right. Craig says sure. So, as Theodosia kind of looks past and then I imagine steps around so you get the full screen, you don't have to yell at Hades to put his two-tined, fork down or anything, and can see. Yes. You can see for a second. How best to put this? Actually, yes. There is the sound of a gunshot. And you fall backwards. And there is this flash for Theodosia, for Babasera. We'll use this, right? For Babasera, there is this unnatural growling that you hear and this kind of heavy, dense, overgrowth jungle kind of feel to your skin. And then Theodosia's, in the vision's, eyes pop open, her wound healing as she stands up and launches herself at I didn't write it down. Name of bounty hunter here.
Sure, the gunman, yeah.
Yeah. Throwing him aside, her fingernails elongated into these heavy, gnarly claws. Her hair just pulled back very absolutely. Well, actually, let's lean into it. Very Wolverine, right? This man gets shredded. We have a short little step forward, and we can see her standing up, not having eaten this guy, right? But blood dripping from her mouth, where she's bitten into him.
Mm-hmm.
And Theodosia turns her head and sees Jonathan holding Luca and Valosia close, both of them crying, and slowly him stepping backwards away, and then the three of them running.
Whoa.
Now, that's the little prompt, because as Baba Sarah looks in on this past, it continues on for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Baba Sarah, and this is kind of on you too, Craig, what part of that future do you look for? Because there's this, well, meta-wise, this is kind of an opportunity for you to kind of work with me and figure out what could have been, right? But what part of that future, that past that never happened, does Baba Sarah look for? This moment to investigate a past that never happened.
So there's a couple different branches that would
Mm-hmm.
immediately be of interest. Does she get Jonathan and the kids back? Or is the transformation that happened as part of the awakening to a different watchtower, does that break that relationship entirely?
I mean, and like I said, this is 100% collaborative because this is something that never happened.
Mhm.
But in my mind, they fled. They saw something impossible. They saw mom, wife, get
Mhm.
shot, fall, and then seconds later, standing up, a different person, right? Changed, feral, and they fled. Now, my question is, especially knowing you're Damon, does she go after them? Because I can definitely see her, turning full, especially as a Thyrsis, mama bear, and being like, whoa, hang on, no, we're staying together,
Mm-hmm.
and, being this still kind of Baba Sarah protector.
I think the Theo that could be or could have been would definitely go after them and try and keep the family together, but not necessarily force it or anything.
Sure, yeah.
Like she's not gonna like terrify them into staying with her or anything, but
No, you're not a Mastigos.
no.
But yeah, no, I think that's a good vibe. So yeah, probably a bittersweet alternate past, that Baba Sarah looks in on and sees this Thyrsis who able to keep husband and son alive, keep everybody together. There's of course the side of, well, you never meet Catherine Moody.
Well, and that's the second thing
Mhm.
that Baba Sarah would be interested in is what happens to Catherine in that scenario.
Yeah, because I think I think specifically because this past follows a couple years forward, there is no sign of Catherine in that Theodosia's life.
Right. And Baba Sarah would be like, if the family is good and they're all, happy and able to live together, then her attention would wander over towards San Francisco and see what happened with Catherine. If I don't know if that how the movements or whatever.
Nope,
is
just
looking.
following Theodosia's
Okay.
path. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I like the idea of punching the fast forward button. Be like, okay, nope, found everybody, we're together, and then yeah, your paths never cross with Catherine. So definitely, I hadn't thought about that aspect, but yeah, it's like, well, yeah, you probably never go to San Francisco. You probably stay up in Washington, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Washington State.
And so yeah, never meet Catherine. And after, go ahead.
So that leaves a bit of an ache, but yeah, that's rough.
Mm-hmm.
And to not know what happened to Catherine then.
Oh yeah, that really stings Baba Sarah, I'm sure, because it was a mutual rescue kind of thing with Catherine, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they kind of teamed up and saved each other.
Mm-hmm. No.
But the other question that I have, mostly for Greg, is: do you think Babasera finds or joins up with the Pentacle or the Seers? Well, excuse me, the Diamond Order or the Seers, especially with the Seers very happily offering protection and, join us together.
Based on her interactions with the Seers, everything has been transactional and leaves you feeling like you paid more than you got.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she would end up with the Seers at all, regardless of what they were offering.
Right.
Just because
the diamond is dead to us too.
Right, and the stink of the Seers, their scent and things would.
Well, and the tyranny vibes, and the past that she had, with Baloja Belina, definitely has some negative connotations there. Okay. Cool.
I think she would stay an independent, actually, because she's not big on structures and order and people being in charge.
Combine that with being a fiercest. Yeah.
It's like, if you want to, I'm not taking orders from you unless you can beat me or something. Like, it's sort of unless you're the alpha and prove to me that you're the alpha, I'm not doing anything you say.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
So I don't know if that would be compatible with the Diamond Order very much.
Yeah, you might get some status dots and be like, yeah, we can work together, but you ain't my boss. I like that.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I can go.
Okay.
I'm curious to see.
Gisela and Ash, you and I, we're gonna have an Atratus episode here, because we cut to before, as opposed to Babasera seeing the day of her awakening. This goes farther back, and that one bit of luck that just kind of went wrong for your father, and he dies early. How exactly he dies, isn't covered in the particular dream, but that
depends on where we are when it happens. Because
right.
I can tell you possible explanation, possible reasons.
Right, but this is still Germany, or still. So, what's the term? What would we determine that was the actual place?
The forest.
Yeah, the forests. So he passes, and therefore the curse passes.
He was a woodcutter and kohler, so probably some tragic accident with the tree falling.
Yeah, tree falling on him, yeah. So the curse passes to you, and you have to that Gisela, and you have the absolutely terrible, rotten luck. But already on the path of, let's investigate, let's fix this, let's talk to the fairies, let's figure out what mythological being is fucking up my family. But with a more, what do I want to say, fatalistic tone, because now it's bothering you, now it's coming after you. So there is a day of just darkness, right? That leads to a Stygian awakening, and you wake, but the Gisela who comes out of that is not a pleasant person. Combine that with the curse that once sapped at luck, now eating away at mana and willpower, nibbling at gnosis and driving your wisdom lower and lower. I don't know necessarily how well that Gisela handles it, and that's kind of where I kind of turned it to you and asked, what do you think? And again, some of this is out of character, in character, what kind of things that you can try and pluck at to try and figure out useful stuff for your characters, and not just a, hey, what if?
I'm trying to think of how this Gisela would have attempted to solve the problem. Because I know, I can definitely see it just going real bad. Like, clinging as hard as possible to the remnants of sanity and just trying to fight it back, but failing.
Right. Well, and this is Europe, right? Very much the stronghold for, the Diamond and Seer orders. And so her awakening probably far more noticed than her awakening, because your awakening in Arachne's awakening was in the US, if I remember correctly, or even
timeline wise it would have been when they were in Purgatory Bluff,
right, where nobody was there for her, but out there, all sorts of good or nefarious people to fall in with, who
I feel like she's definitely going to leave the family just to try to stop cursing them by being around her, because at this point she's still got 3 little siblings, and let's keep it that way. Or well, no, actually, because she just got the one. The 2 youngest would never have existed if Dad had died then. But I guess she leaves Mom working at the bakery and little brother there, and goes north to try to find people who might know more. The other alternative I was thinking would be just like, we're gonna go out into the woods and find what did it. And
with my shotgun, we're gonna have a conversation.
A god.
Sure, yeah. Oh, I like that. But looking farther into her future, because regardless, I do not expect that. Like, Gisela is stubborn as fuck. Like, even, especially waking up Stygian and be like, all right, fuck all this shit, and just going out and, finding something. But and kind of same question as with Craig. Do you think she falls in with an order, especially with the, promise of knowledge, right? And, potential cure?
Yeah, probably. Definitely not the Seers, because they just feel bad. Like, all their stuff is about, like, oppressing people, and, like, you might have a nice life, but you have to do it at the expense of other people.
No,
not always.
Right.
Well,
yeah, because that's the trick, because that's how they get you, right? Especially when they're recruiting. It's like, oh, no, we're going to give you resources, we're going to give you wealth. You want knowledge? Sure. You just have these, dreams that occasionally scritch at the back of your head saying, hey, go do this.
I've already got that hanging around my neck. Thank you.
That's true.
But she'd probably, I don't know what order, but basically if some hedge mage can find her and take her into, like, a concilium, I guess I work for you now.
Just to try and get rid of the curse and...
Yeah.
Okay. But then out of characters, there, little things of mystery that you're digging into, or considering your time arcana, is this just a whole bunch of, like, eyes wide, study all this, drink this all in, scrutiny kind of stuff? What do you think?
Less time and more fate. It's like, this could have been you had the paths gone differently.
That's true.
This is a fate that would have been yours, and how it played out.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you get to actually go study the little shriveled up bits of thread and stuff like that? Okay, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, she's probably... This is a bit unsettling, but she is enjoying just being able to sort of run through another life.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Okay.
And trying to scrutinize and pick apart all the little places it has changed and diverged.
Yeah, a lot of divergence here. Could never even make it to the US. I never learned English. I like that.
I imagine
Well-
high speech in German sounds fucking harsh.
From
Maybe.
Amoros, right?
Yeah.
Rise, ghost from your grave.
Yeah, I was listening to that album earlier today, actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Ralph or Chris? I know, Chris, you're probably wanting to go last just because of stuff, but no?
Okay,
Okay, cool.
I don't mind. Whatever.
Yeah, so Isabel, it's like this is a reoccurring experience.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Yep. Married, but there is no claimed, right? No attack on the hacienda. No worst day of your life ever. So happily married. Mom and dad return from Mexico City, or rather return you back to Mexico City. And life is wonderful. But especially now that you're back, your father has you studying interesting books and different symbolism and iconographies and things like that to, expand your mind is kind of the nudging. And then there's the day that you awaken from Arcadia. And your father is so ecstatic that you are just like him. And, together he guides you. And this is the thing I know Chris specifically is after, as he guides you and is your mentor, both in the supernal and magic, but also in how best to serve the destroyer. Who, for your knowledge, I think I had the note visible for everybody, but that is in 1847, the Exarch of Fate. And
As opposed to Nemesis
yes,
in the core book.
yes. For our purposes, they are functionally the same. I just wanted to use some different names just because they do change over time. Because everyone's like, oh, there's 10 Exarchs. Point of fact.
Also, just the destroyer sounds badass.
Yeah. And especially when you tie it with fate. And it's like, oh, you're that guy. Meanwhile, Gisela's over here going, hang on, what the fuck is just happening? What happened to my life? But yes, training you and nudging you and teaching you how to use your arts to ensure the safety and longevity of your lineage, your power, how to, remove rivals. And occasionally there is a dream that nudges you into action. Hey, there's this potion. Hey, there's this little tincture to just drop in a wine glass at some fancy Spanish ball. Yeah. But I don't know how long that lasts, or if you think that Isabel, not
I
Petrichor,
think
obviously.
that Isabel goes right along with it. Having never been challenged or forced to exit her life as it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Born into privilege, continue to have privilege, and do anything to keep it, I guess.
I mean, not even do anything to keep it, but just this. No, this is my life. This is what I was meant to do. Following in a very she was raised from birth to be the next in a line of nobility. This is just finding out that you're just nobility in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So you're describing her basically being this not assassin, but poisoner, and so maybe like Black Widow, shadow name sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think people go away, probably potentially, marrying into these different families.
She still has the same like force of personality and stuff like that. I feel like it's just more pointed and probably a little bit more cruel over time.
Yeah, especially in private, puts on the lovely public face, and then in private just absolutely eviscerates people. But yeah, as you're watching this, and imagine, for me, my mental prompt is, and that's the newly awakened, almost said Petrichor, Isabel, but is there stuff, once you've kind of got your hands on the remote, that you try and like, who's doing what? Obviously, there's the big reveal of Dad is, at least in this. Well, actually, you can assume that he was always an Acanthus, but
is
true.
Yeah, well, haven't explicitly been told that he's alive, but have been told that
to meet him, you'd have
to
to
meet him again, go to Mexico, right? That's a great thing in chat.
Yeah, chat says, okay, I want this timeline's Isabel to somehow cross timelines to become this group's enemy. She sounds securely awesome.
Darkest
These things can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as like what Petrichor is trying to get out of this is learning anything about relevant things of how the seer organization works, or things about Dad that might be further clues.
Okay, cool.
To pursue.
I like that.
In this actual timeline.
Cool. Yeah. So, and I'm bringing this up because I'm making notes, but a lot of where seer outposts, little hidey holes, methodologies.
And I want to like actually like be clear about this, is that I don't think Isabel's, well, I don't think Petrichor is horrified by this. And I think Isabel accepts it at a level 2, that this is just how it could have been, and given the, she's not go with the flow, but that like do what must be done sort of things, that this is just how this version of her would have had to survive.
Which is actually a very Thyrsis approach at it. Yeah, I like that.
Right.
It's like, I can't even be mad at myself.
And I think in the Black Widow version of Isabel, there's probably still a run of that, where she, especially if she's being asked to like poison people and stuff like that, that she's probably learning, especially some life magic and stuff like that. So a little bit of that, like, because Isabel sees everything as a challenge, right?
Right.
And so from a Acanthus perspective, it might be more of, I've already won. I've already won these challenges. Everything is just puppets and marionettes and toys.
Yeah. Especially when you have all the fate and time to ask, hey, if I do this, what is my opponent going to do?
Right.
Yeah. Like you don't stand a chance. I have the high ground. Cool. I like that. Yeah, I'll scribble down some notes for the future. So then we come around to Ralph. And similarly, that really bad day that Cloak had, John Paul had.
Really bad series of days.
Yeah, that's true. You are within the, for lack of a better term, testing chamber. To become an Ungan, right? And there are sounds of screams and things happening, but then the door is ripped open.
Oh shit.
Your mentor reaches in and grabs hold and pulls you out, apologizing profusely that he's broken this, I guess we can say, a sacred rite. and saying, but your life is more important than that, and we can help people. You need to do something now. And together with you, save what few people you can. Because if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember, was it the Tonktomoku that came on that day?
Yeah, so yeah, because what happened was he basically was lying to his superiors. He was sent to like infiltrate and monitor his mentor, and his mentor was like, look, let me tell you the truth. They're tricking you.
Right.
And then, he gradually became more receptive to it and actually became a part of the community, right? And was getting, and of course the Tontomaku knew this, right?
Right.
They're like, let's see what happens. And then, he's getting initiated and they're like, now's the time. This is the price you pay, right? There's no way you can get away from this. So yeah, they came and they just took people out.
Right. So instead you see as you, without having awakened yet, working alongside your mentor to fight back. And there's overwhelming numbers, right? But at least are able to save some. Sanite makes it, but, Messi J doesn't. Right.
That's sad.
There are some losses, but there's that core group of you and you escape.
Cool.
And over the next few days of, I imagine not necessarily guerrilla warfare, but there is some, let's find some people, let's try and make something better.
Yeah. The
challenges that are pushed to you, and then seeing some things from your mentor and some things that there's no way he knows that. How is he? It's like he's reading my mind, right? Yeah. Kind of stuff. And eventually you break or arise. And you step into the realm of the gods, of the Loa, where, Papa Legba walks you on a golden road and you awaken as an Abrimos, right?
All right.
And working alongside your mentor, who is a Mastigos, if I remember correctly, and we determined that,
yes. Yeah, definitely.
And the two of you work together as kind of two sides of leadership within this group, and kind of work towards a better thing. Him being a little bit more subtle. And yeah, you thought he was a wrecking ball earlier. Now he's an Abrimos who shouts things and everybody believes it. And oh god, yes, you thought Songbird was scary with kinetic blow. Here's Cloak with kinetic blow. And this change. And so the two of you work together to create this new place that starts small, right, and then slowly works up. And the talk of miracles that the two of you work together, and that's kind of where the end of my prompt is.
Cool.
But yeah, so now for you there's a little less to dig into here in terms of what's useful in Colorado, but there's so much knowledge, so Gnosis level Arcana kind of stuff. Because hey,
that's wonderful.
How often do you get to view a different path? But yeah, where do you think we go?
I think a lot of this is going to be useful in Colorado based on what I brought up to you before, which will need to be something we'll discuss in the group later on, not immediately, and need to be later in the timeline, right? But so this is not what I expected you to provide for me, right? I had a few hints, impressions of where it could go. The first thing is he takes a shadow named Ogun, right? The low of strength and power, but not in the Zeus analog, right? So he is definitely embodying that aesthetic, right? Like wielding power for the purpose of demonstrating might, but not for the purpose of controlling or oppressing people, right? And I am the lightning. Right, so I shall be. Right, that kind of thing.
And I'm imagining your mentor curiously takes the shadow name Papa Legba.
Yeah, and it's cool, definitely, to see his impression of it, because I think he's definitely a foil in some ways, right? Because a mentor is definitely more emotionally expressive outwardly, yeah. However, he also conceals his feelings more.
Right.
Than Legba does, right? So as much as there's the impression sometimes that maybe Cloak or Legba has some subtext, and generally he's being honest about how he feels about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's just being in a kind of forceful way to get people not to investigate the other things he's feeling. Like,
right.
What he tells you is true, but he's not telling you all of the truth.
Right.
Whereas his mentor is telling you none of the truth, but being very like conversant and amicable. So I think that the story would progress in that they realize that they now have enough people and enough power that they could really improve Haiti. So what I see them doing is trying to eliminate the jockeying for empires and leadership that happened in the early 1800s, where everyone was trying to become emperor of Haiti and like screwing over the populace, right? So the first thing they do is like, there's no more indentured servitude, right? Like, we're not paying that weregild. So they need to find some way to get to the point where they can have some authority and some influence over the government, establish a unity, and then figure out a way to get out from under the thumb of France and acquire some kind of economic stability. And I think maybe through use of the weather, helping to grow crops, like whatever it is, right? He would contribute in those ways. And then he'd also, what I imagine would happen is he'd think that more people deserve the opportunity to achieve their potential. So in the same way that Cloak is committed to giving people agency and giving people a chance to think about what's going on in their lives, Ogun is thinking specifically, hey, everybody needs to get to this place. Everybody needs to get to Guinea, right?
Right.
And the only way to
Apocalypse for you, Apocalypse for you.
Yeah, everybody needs to do this, right? So he's definitely leaning towards the silver ladder, right? Like, I think he's straight up like, very obviously focused on this is humanity's birthright. Everyone in Haiti deserves this, especially, and it'd be let me back up. His perspective on this would receive some influence from the Mastigos perspective.
Right.
Because in his personal life, he views all of this as adversity. So the country has gone through adversity, right? For hundreds of years, we're black people. We've been through slavery, and then we harm ourselves. And now we're in a place where we could really have a realm of our own. But all we do is just try and compete with each other for the crumbs that are left behind from the recently left colonists that we kicked out, right?
Right.
So he'd be thinking, all right, we all deserve to be gods in a way, not in a blasphemous way, right? Like, not we all deserve to be Loa, but we all deserve this power. I'm not the only one who can have this power. And so if the silver ladder became involved at some point, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
However, if his mentor had died, I should say this, he was going to worship the general hard.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it was going to be the Petro version of Ogun, and he was going to fuck people up, right? It was going to be like all about forces all day, every day. But no, in this turn, yeah, definitely, he'd be in the, hey, people deserve a chance to do better in their lives because they have potential. They don't have to go through trauma in order to realize that human beings are good things, right? They're good entities, they're good beings. And so as a consequence, they deserve an opportunity to rise. And Haiti in particular must have that. And the only way to do that is to convince people that they have to follow the righteous path.
Yeah, I don't think we see that side. I definitely think, because at least within my notes, yeah, it's the... Oh, that was just Craig freezing. I was like, not again. It's definitely the pair of you, initially, and then, somebody else, and then, the Diamond Order shows up and goes, hey, what you doing over here? And I imagine, especially the pair of you plus whoever else that you've got, it's like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
This is a negotiation. This is a discussion. You don't get to step in here and take over. But
that's right.
I like that. That's good stuff.
Cool. And I'll say the thing he takes away from that is he can't sit on his hands, right? That he needs to talk to Les Enfants. Right? Like this is what he's thinking is this is what would have happened if his mentor would have survived. He's not thinking this is fictional. This is not illusory for him.
Sure.
Because he's recognizing that this is just a chain of causality, right, in his mind.
Yep.
Like this was a possibility. Not anything was his fault, just, oh, wait a minute. Mastigos leading Maroons can do good things. I'm so focused on me. Maybe I really need to do something different.
Right. Yeah, especially seeing this past where look what could have been. Yeah, I like that. That's very, very good. Right, so
and I feel like the way Gisela's been running through the timelines, she's been looking at different options, right?
mm-hmm.
So there's the one where she doesn't get help and she ends up just spiraling down and going wrapped, and this is what that looks like.
I like that. I actually, Ed, because that was not the intention of this, but I kind of like the idea that the Acanthus looks over here and goes, "This is cool." Puts her hands in and starts,
and just
like, I'm gonna look at all this stuff.
Essentially, just fucking. Oh shit! I just lost the reference. Damn it! Clockwork Orange yourself.
And just look at all of it. I like
basically going through them with fate and time and finding branches and then looking at that one and looking at this one, and
these are thorns.
Just
That's an
trying to-
Kansas thing, right? So,
You're just trying to take a look at everything everywhere.
all at once.
the movie's so good.
Still need to see it.
But yeah, I feel like Diamond Order Gisela probably ended up as an arrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The God in the Woods and Fist Fight God definitely
Yeah, sure.
was the vibe.
Yeah. But especially, and after that, the whole, like, I mean, our Gisela is, you know, the homebody and the protector, and, well, yes, but, you know, adamantine arrow and with more, you know, firearms and, you know, protect the mages kind of vibes. I like that. That's cool. So as you all kind of just ingest this, which notably for 4 of you, well, actually, I take that back. For 3 of you, Chris, Ralph, and Craig, your journeys are, or visions are kind of, you know, a similar duration, right? The things that you all see. When you turn away, as the kind of vision kind of fades, you find Rilla staring out past, oh my gosh, whatever statue. I can't
Apollo.
remember. Apollo, thank you. And looking a little like disappointed and confused. And you can see Gisela like deep and just continuing to watch and see all sorts of stuff. Very, for lack of a better term, wrapped up in all this kind of stuff. And Jules is kind of sitting at the, well, heels, the back of the Hephaestus statue. And obviously,
Theo's just gonna head over to Rilla and just be a presence there.
Okay.
For her.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
obviously, Ash, feel free to step in, not to sideline you. But yeah, Rilla kind of leans against Theodosia and goes, "It's nothing." Like there's
What's her arm around her?
there's a flicker of things, but I'm not seeing anything. Because I imagine, out of character, we didn't discuss it, but everybody, I imagine, saw stuff and started talking about the things before they kind of got drawn into it. But Rilla is like, stuff.
If hearing her say that, that's going to pull me away from mine.
I like that. Yeah, okay.
I want to look at her destiny.
Still there. Yeah, looks the way that it's been.
Because I feel like that's what's screwed with her visions.
Yeah, that's a potential thing.
So they would offer the perspective. These were constructed by someone.
No.
And I would suggest viewing this and that, but
But there's literally nothing here.
When you say you see flashes, what are they of?
My eyes opening and then it's gone. My little room back in London, a tent in Africa, some places of my past, but it's long enough for me to recognize where I'm at that it ends.
Without that potion, you may not have awoken. If this trial is meant to show, as it did me, and as I assume each of you, once everyone else, different awakened versions of ourselves, this may be... She, reaches down and, grabs her by the shoulders. This may be the awakened Rilla.
But I mean, that's a year of possibilities, other things, places, branches. Kind of looking at Gisela.
I think you might not have branches. You still have the destiny, it's not a weight around your neck, but it kind of is. It's this thing on you. Guiding. Dooming.
Yeah, she kind of shakes her shoulders at that. I don't like that.
I don't remember if I looked at her before she awakened. Did she have the destiny? No. Right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Or added. Go ahead. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I think I'd like to sit down and look into that some more with you later, if you'd like. Because I don't like how nebulous it is. I don't like this.
No, I don't either. Free will is a thing. I have choices.
Mm-hmm.
I could
You do.
Picks up, random pebble off of the temple floor and throws it through the opening.
You have choices within constraints.
But also keep in mind, these visions were meant to teach us something. Get us to contemplate something.
I guess I am beyond lessons and things that are worth teaching.
Or, what does the lack of vision here make you contemplate? Mine was about the thing that I am left to ponder now is, would I trade the life of my husband and son for Catherine and our relationship? That's the choice it offered me to think about.
Yep, immediately realize oh shit, and turns and it's that mutual side hug as opposed to her little kind of pout. I will add for a little bit of flavor that you hear a little bit of sobbing from Jules.
Getting there in a second.
Oh yeah, I figured.
Isabel reaches deep within her, and takes a deep breath and blinks open her eyes and turns on time.
Dun dun dun.
Oh shit.
Cool. I'm trying to inspect Rilla, I guess? Or...
I think just generally the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The old mid-session XP expenditure.
Mid-sesh.
But yeah, I think specifically, especially coming at this with new eyes kind of thing, right? Well, actually, I guess with time as mage sight, feel free to go ahead and roll Gnosis plus time for an actual like peek at stuff. But the whole place, yeah, you have these. I don't know how her mage sight would necessarily see it, but in my head, they're kind of these tapestries, these curtains hanging between these pillars behind the various statues. And they're all very well attuned to each of you, right? To show these past alternate lives. Rilla seems to be malfunctioning from a... I don't want to say this. Oh, yeah. Coming from the like just supernal side of something fucked with this spell.
Yeah, Science of Sorcery suggests that shamans often envision time as the world tree, as the branches and roots and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
back along its trunk when they need to go from complexity to simplicity and venture perilously high into its branches to comprehend the fractal patterns of the future.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's entirely
Petrichor's
fitting for Petrichor, but like just seeing like overlaid like a piece of sheet music that someone has composed, erased, and like picking through and being able to see from the eraser marks, like,
ooh, cool.
Or the discarded bits of paper around, like the
grabbing onto that, because it's everybody else has these worn pieces of paper, right, and pencil marks or erase marks that everybody's kind of viewing. And Rilla's looks like somebody basically put their hand on the staff sheet right there to tell you what key you're playing in and ripped everything else off.
Oh,
to give you an idea.
Isolide Arachne, I'd like to ask what you see of time with Rilla, but from my new vision, I don't want this to come across harshly, but yes, something is broken.
And to reiterate,
spell.
Thank you. Yes.
Not of you, Rilla.
Okay, that's going to make me want to verify the shield I've got on her.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that's there. It looks hale and hearty. There doesn't appear, just like with, especially because you have Prime Sight, there's nothing affecting her right
now. I need to go check on Jules.
And Ash, I don't know if you're going to want to look at the spell as well.
Yeah, scrutinizing it with time?
Time or Prime, however you kind of want to look at it. For me, for you, it's the same.
Oh, Griffin has a good one in chat too of how time sight could work.
Ooh, Feelers of Lightning, and then the one that's very good. Good job, Griff. That's good fluff.
Gonna spend the willpower.
All right.
Spin that
2
wheel.
successes. I was looking at with time, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so similar to what Petrichor kind of nudged you and kind of pointed you at, yeah, there is something with this spell. You can't quite tell what's going on. It's almost as if, and giving this from the fact that you also have the prime side of things, like somebody put the spell on pause. Or to use a more modern term, the video has buffered a little bit, and so you can play that start, but it's not loading anything more. So
Can I
there's-
try to restart it?
Prime in time.
Have you guys
Yeah.
shared this with us?
It's prime time.
Yeah, it is prime time. What was that, Craig?
Have you guys shared this with us?
We were talking about it, but
Yeah.
So we know that there's another entity trying to interfere with this whole process. And we also know that the seers were very interested in Willa.
They want her, yes.
So this could be their interference manifesting.
That's what I was thinking, because she is still... They haven't tried to touch her, because I would know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I want to remove whatever the block is that's got it.
Okay. Roll Gnosis plus prime.
Yeah. And I'll give it a willpower.
Whoa, wow.
Mhm.
So you throw yourself into this spell, which we're not going to bother writing up. It's fine.
I'm basically seeing it as basically sort of pushing mana through it to try to
Clear
push through
blockage.
whatever has got it blocked. Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Unclog the drain.
Yeah.
Big old
It's-
supernal plunger.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Wooka, wooka, wooka.
Mage. We're all sorts of elegant here. Toilet.
Yeah.
Toilet metaphors.
We're supernal custodians, everyone.
So, yeah, you lean into this, and I'm not going to continue with that metaphor, but yeah, you press up against, and where you feel there should be some kind of give, right? Something that you could press against. There is no yield to it whatsoever. Mechanically, I will tell you, your Clash of Wills
Much
fails.
mastery.
There's something there, and it's just like, no, this isn't even a contest. Yeah,
Does it seem like I could try again, or is it just like impossible?
oh yeah, no, this is that straight up slam your shoulder up against a door, you feel some kind of give, even if it's a big heavy door. Slam your shoulder up against a stone wall, and it just laughs at you. It does not care.
stick your finger in a socket and you
Yeah.
blast it across the room.
Yeah.
Okay, well, something very big doesn't want you to see whatever is here.
Which supports my theory.
So
While you all are discussing this,
tell us much about what she actually saw during her awakening.
her awakening was Golden Road discussing science and math with angelic tutors. It was, like science school, prime aether shit. Yeah, I know, boo. Yeah, but it was exactly her stuff. It's just that drink in real knowledge. For her, she's gone from studying science with a lowercase s to a capital S, and
Right.
seeing the underlying blocks of existence.
I know you want to let
Mhm.
that scene happen between Isabel and Jules, and I'm
Yep.
all for that. If there's time, I do have something that might be interesting to happen between Rilla and Cloak.
Sure. Yeah, we'll definitely get back to that.
No pressure. Can happen next time too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But Yeah, Jules definitely trying to put on a brave face kind of thing. But it's definitely like, yeah, he's, you know, kind of expressions and trying to calm himself down. And as you sit down next to him, this like has his head turned away. You can see him kind of, you know, deep breath, trying to compose himself, wipes his face. Oh, that was no. Did not like that.
She like relaxes out of petrichor a bit. You said he's like sitting against the statue?
Yeah, he sat down, leaned back. Yeah.
Classic I've seen some shit pose.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it?
It's a lot of what Gisela warned me about. If I kept traveling with Mortimer and instead of staying here in Purgatory Bluff, and I mean I was already going to start messing with things and looking into things, and I looked into more things and following shamanistic rituals and summon things that, well, I mean, you saw the things I summoned, but you and the rest of the Coven weren't there, and it's led to a dark path, and I became a monster.
I think you need to speak up a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. And then I became a monster. It's okay. It's fine. I just wasn't quite ready for that. Just things coming through from the other side, and if you would like to give me a Wits plus Insight or Subterfuge.
You meant Wits plus Sympathy.
Yes.
Insight check.
Insight
Right.
check.
You were inserting a D&D terminology. I knew what you meant.
Subterfuge, yes, excellent.
Yes.
No worries.
Nope. He's fine.
Well, notably,
He's being completely honest right now.
there you are. Yeah, he has seen some shit. He's shaken up.
If it helps, I had to see a version of myself attached to the same realm as Gisela. Sorry, that's not the bad part.
Like, and what's wrong with that?
Right. Marching over.
If it helps. I had to do the lame thing.
Right? But a less rough and tumble, but yet no less pragmatic version of Isabel. A sort of... She like searches for this word that she's pretty sure exists and like says femme fatale. And
Sure.
Mm.
He nods. So, evil Isabel.
some would call it that.
Still a badass, though.
Did you think it was still you in the end? That version of you?
A version of Isabel.
There's like the nod and then the shake of his head of like, definitely, that's good. Definitely wasn't what I saw.
What sort of monster?
Have you ever thought about things that Legba could do if he wanted to?
Controlling?
Utterly? every person I met falling under my sway, getting whatever I wanted. It was kind of
Has that not happened here?
he looks and like is like, yes, very clear the attempted humor, but he kind of shakes his head as, I mean, I got, there's a blush, but he's like, I got any woman I wanted, but I didn't have a relationship. I knew what to say to get what I wanted without effort. Wasn't real though. And then, started to call things through to do my bidding. Bound them to me. Within a year, I was head of the Royal Society. It was wonderful. It's all the accolades I ever wanted. Met the Queen, or actually 1848 Queen? Yeah, Victoria, right.
Famously.
Yeah.
She cuts in and that's... You can be horrified by it, but the things you're describing are not inherently evil. Every word you just said is something that I have done in placing myself in society at Purgatory Bluff. I haven't used, for the most part, my magic to do so. But I know what to say to people. I know how to get them to give me what I want. And have achieved a position of power. And do you find me to be evil?
No. But you worked for it. You didn't cheat
Did this
into
version of you study? Did they train their magic?
I stepped out of my awakening and could whisper a word and people would obey.
Very Jessica Jones villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was no effort. And it's not that somebody had the choice then to do as I said. They were commanded to do it. And while you could he makes a face, you could command numerous people to do whatever you wanted, and many of them would do it because they trust you, they believe in you, they think you would be the right person. These people were, after they did as I commanded, were broken, changed. Sleepers do not do well coming up against that kind of thing.
But I could do that just as well. Without control of their mind, but with their bodies instead.
That
Pheromones.
would make you
fear.
evil, I think.
Make them want to fight, make them want to flee, make them want to...
Right. The 3 Fs.
That was great.
Fight,
Chris.
flight,
Food.
and mating.
Yeah.
Eat food.
But yeah, and notably, just so it doesn't...
Sorry, I wanted to get this out for a second, but would like to restate, just in case anyone's forgotten, Isabel does not have dots of empathy.
Right.
Mhm.
She's bad at this.
Oh, yeah. And he's definitely
He's just like,
getting
no,
that.
you're not helping.
Right.
She's trying.
Yeah. But notably, and just so, I don't have to invent a whole bunch of shit, and so we can
Right.
continue on, because I'm We'll see what Ralph had. But notably, he goes in and 100% magic jewels awakening in London. Gets definitely tied up with the seers, starts manipulating and breaking people. You can hear the wisdom just tanking, or specifically actually probably doesn't even have to do that because he can inure a couple spells, and then he's just like
domination, and you're great.
Yep, and just left and right and leaving people to do his commands, and if they keep their brains intact, cool, he can do it some more. Oh, they're starting to fall apart. Discard, take over whoever's new. Absolute like
Acquire some patronage stocks in Bedlam Hospital and
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. 100% like just super Sith Darth Jewels. Meanwhile, Isabel is going, yeah, but I could do all that too. And yeah. But yeah, and,
sounded helpful to her.
Right. Well, and
Yeah,
notably, for him, well, yeah, it is definitely not the best thing to hear. Him getting it off his chest, and notably, her continuing to be like, not that. Well, I'd still love you, because I don't think she would go that far, but her not judging him for having that be a possibility, because for him, it's definitely.
Well, it's also like structured language of this could be something that I could do.
Mhm.
This could be something that you did. It's that detachment level. She at least gets that right, I think.
And the other little thing that you get from it is where the rest of you had a little control. You had a little remote, as opposed to Gisela, who had like the full soundboard gears in front of her, right? Jules was just clockworked orange. Watch this. There's no pausing it. There's no turning away. There's no fast forwarding through the gruesome parts. Nothing. He just watched it all. And just, yeah. He has a couple conditions, kind of things. But, yeah.
Seems like Gisela did a really nice thing by saying, hey, man, got some bad things in store for you. You might want to reconsider your choices.
100%. Yeah, Jules was going to be a reoccurring villain.
That was your fate, but we changed it.
Yep. Sorry you didn't get to awaken, but
Hooked up with the bad guy.
read that on your bingo board. So, and then, well, actually, I guess I'll ask Rob.
But also, like, he's been feeling sad that he didn't awaken, right? And it's like, oh, well, now you see what it would have been like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She does like essentially offer that if he's feeling overwhelmed by this, if there were to be any more of the trial coming, she could essentially let him sleep through it.
I think his response to that is, I don't know how well I'm going to be sleeping for the next couple days after these things in my head. I know.
She could make that no problem.
I was going to ask real quick, Ralph, is that short thing or something that we want to give some time?
It can be whatever duration you like. You can see what he says and then decide if you want to cut it.
Yeah, that's true. Do we
and
leave
then
this on a
continue next
cliffhanger?
time.
Right.
It's up to you. Yeah. So, all right, cool. So, after Isabel goes to talk to Jules, right, and it's just the four of us sitting there, and Rilla's probably a little upset. Close sits down and leans forward, and because Coke does have 1 dot of empathy, not very good wits in reading people, but he's pretty good at consoling people. So even though he doesn't do it very much, he's usually just like, "This is your problem. It's fine." So he leans towards Rilla and he says, I know you're feeling bad right now. Would it be helpful if I shared what I think? Sorry. Would it be helpful if I shared what I think?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So let me first ask you a question. Do you remember when I once asked you to dance?
She grins, small blush, and says, yes.
I think the nature of our relationship might be a little different now. If that, then it might be a little, sorry. I think the nature of our relationship might have been different than it is now if you had taken me up on the offer.
Quite probably.
And that's no statement of regret coming from me. Who knows what the future holds? And he winks at her. And then this is probably like peculiar. People seeing him do this. But he says, the point is, our lives hold all kinds of potential. I witnessed my awakening to your path and the good I could have accomplished in Haiti if I hadn't instead been subjected to pandemonium and sent halfway around the world to brood with a bunch of people I don't relate to. So I think there's two ways you could approach this. The first is, if you wanted, you could go into your own Neros, and maybe with my help, you could employ your considerable powers of knowledge to predict what you might have seen, what might have happened if you'd made different choices, and that might provide you with a little satisfaction. Or you could take an approach that's similar to the one I've taken, which is that it is helpful to know what would have been. It is more important to know why you should value what you have. You have a destiny, but you do still have choice, because you have choice in how you treat all of us every day. You have choice in how you explore your magic. You have choice in how you prepare yourself for what's going to come. And you will always have a choice to ask for help and to get the support from all of us, regardless of whatever happens to you, or whatever you choose to do. I'm going to try and make an expression roll to give her like the maybe empowered condition or whatever you think makes sense, but just trying to get her in a state where she feels enthusiastic and optimistic, right? Not necessarily like she thinks this isn't a problem, but like, you know what, this is something I can handle. Even if I don't know what everybody else learned, I'm still going to be okay.
Okay.
Maybe like agency or something?
Yeah.
Whatever makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Cool. All right. I think this is, you know what? I think this is consistent with my virtue, but I didn't spend any willpower. I'm definitely going to spend one now. So, spin a willy. All right. Didn't even need to invoke my attainment.
Yeah, don't have to spend any mana. Yeah. Okay, I like that. But yeah. And I definitely think the idea is like, especially because some of her issue is that she's kind of pouting because she didn't get the cool thing everybody else got, right? Yeah. And especially from the mage side of things, like she didn't have anything to study or to look at.
Yeah.
And
no fair.
Right. But that combined with the weight of destiny and stuff like that, it's like, okay, no, I do have choices. Like I can make, you know, even if my destiny is very, very set, which Gisela has told her, it still branches plenty.
You got options.
Yep. I like that. Yeah. And she kind of perks up a little bit and kind of nods, and then has that moment kind of like where she realizes that she's been a little bit self-centered and kind of leans over and looks over at Jules and Isabel and goes, right, not just about me.
That's right.
I like that. That's a good positive place to end the scene.
All right.
But good stuff. Not a whole lot of die rolls. That also tends to be a kind of staple of when Drew runs games. But
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But yes, thank you all for joining us. As always, you can come by Discord, www.yeetinto.space, and join us there to talk about stuff, including if you want to talk about Mage the Ascension and how it differs from Mage the Awakening. There's quite a few of you folks, if you happen to see this, who came over from Mage the Podcast Discord and have been learning about Awakening, which has been really fun. And last night I literally had trouble going to bed because it's like they're having conversations and I want to talk, but I need to go to bed. I was very upset. I legitimately, it's the first time I've not been able to just like put my phone down. I like had to put it elsewhere so I didn't just pick it up. Oh, what are they talking about? I said I'm going to bed like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, definitely come
and be like, hey, Chris, I thought you hated Acanthus Arcana, blah blah blah, and I'll let you know I've always said just fate.
Yeah. Time is some
Don't
good shit.
me. We'll fight.
But yes, thank you for joining us. Like I said, come by Discord, hang out, chat. It's a great place. You are welcome. 100%. If you want to support us monetarily, that's patreon.com/Occultists Anonymous and join the Who, When, Where Wolves and harass us and hey, support us. And we do appreciate it. There's also merch, and if you buy books on Drive-Thru RPG, or if you just follow, all that kind of stuff helps us, gets the word out and stuff like that. We are 3-4 weeks from the end of this arc, at which point we will have a significant change to the normal Occultists Anonymous routine. We're going to be going a little bit more episodic, starting with our return to Star Trek and the USS Curie, and bold action.
Bold action.
So look forward to that. Craig will be running that again, and then we have some other stuff lined up. So it may be a little bit before we get back to Mage, but we'll have a lot of other content for you to check out. So until then, bye now.
See you soon.
Everybody.